Yeah, well, so when he does this, like some players, you know, they might just play like this, and then, they might just lazily allow this, and then, black's fine. Black gets a good position. But because he's played 2 queen c7, I want to open this game and max force. So I want to start with knight c3, stopping d5 first of all. So, I mean, obviously he can't do a move like this. He falls behind in development. So d6, and now I want to stop e5 and put pressure on him and play f4. Now, this move doesn't just stop e5, but it asks him questions as to how he's going to finish his king's knight development. Okay, because if he plays knight f6 too early, he'd get hit with e5 fast at some point. So maybe not now. I could do it now, but I could do it in the next move after this. And so he's always getting pushed around now. You see, and I take all the space. I do what I want in this position. This position is horrible. So that's part of the problem here. Is this waste of time, queen c7, neglecting the center. So he tries to play around it, knight d7. Okay, and he thinks that, but like this position is, pretty borderline for black. He thinks that he can get away with this and just play e5, but now he's playing into my hands because he's opening up the game. And I'm the one ahead in development. He's going to lose time. So he has really no other moves other than e5. But the fact that the computer also recommends g4 shows you just how bad his position is. The fact that it says you can play g4, which is, I wouldn't recommend g4 to the student. It's giving him a little too much. Why? That needs to be followed up very accurately. It's the idea is that, chase with knight f6, g5. It's not necessary. As you can see, my move bishop c4 is better, and a computer couldn't play this game really any better. It would play better if the game got maybe more complicated. But as for the moves that were presented to me, this was a perfect game. There's nothing else that needs to be said about it. So I don't play the g4. It's a little just bishop c4, Morphy style. Now, if he goes b5, b4, again, that's played into my hands. I go knight e2. So b5, bishop b3. If he goes b4, knight e2. I'm more than happy with this position. And again, knight f6. He's just falling behind, and lo and behold, their tactics with knight g5. He doesn't get castled. He would then have to play a d5 and then fe5, and it's over. This is over. Computer's not even taking back castles, and then the end of the game. So if he takes like this, yes, could take here. If he goes for the c5 move, well, it's not going to end well for him. First of all, queen b6, there's queen d5. So he's just being chased around in every which way. Again, now I've beaten an international master in a similar position in like 16 moves in a tournament in 2009, and basically he tried to avoid Sicilian or main lines. He found himself in this position, similar position. Yeah, so he just can't finish his development, and that shows. Now here, castles is fine, or I could have taken first and then clarified the position and then castle. Okay. Now, the only argument for that would be to not even let him get this in, although this is still very good for me. I could have clarified it and then castled, and we're dealing with the same outcome. And if he takes like this, then e5 is irresistible. Again, this is hanging, and if he does this, then all the pieces are coming to the party here. Here, there's knight e5, bishop f7, bishop e5. He's again, the move queen c7 is this is very important for you guys. You'll see a lot of guys mock in the opening. You see this on the street, guys doing this, or just guys, one move. Well, you punish that one move. You open up the game. You get all your pieces out. I waste no time. Center development, castle, all pieces out, and now open the game. Now, usually in this position, what black wants is he wants all this traded off, and he wants a knight outposted on e5. That's what they're looking for. The problem for him is that he can't play knight g4 here to get this little outpost. He could if he were castled, maybe. But the problem for him now is he's met with this move, bishop f7, and then he's met with this move, check, and then he's met with, a very peculiar fate. I could take here and allow him this, but now he's got no king, no rooks, and he's really struggling in this position. And we could allow him this fate, maybe. Even this ending is very bad for him because he doesn't survive. He's dropping material here. He never gets his feet set up, so to speak, in the position. So we could do that, or we can go for the mega big power knight d4, knight d5, and if he takes, it's mate. So that the move f4 in the opening allowed for all this. Some of you were watching the game and you might ask, why don't my opponents lose so quickly like this? Well, one of the ways that happens is with a move like f4, setting up this whole thing. So if you don't go for it with f4 here, and you just play knight f3 or h3 or this or that, you're not going to knock them out in under 20 moves. It's not going to happen. They're going to get set up. They're going to get a comfortable position, and they're going to show you their skills. This guy's a good player. He's 2,700 blitz on here. But in this game, he didn't get to even play at all. He got blown away in the positions. He didn't get to show any skills. He just got crushed. Take, and now he gets the queen to e5. Well, guess what? That's one move of the queen, two moves of the queen. And that's two moves of the knight. And I have all my pieces out. I gain an extra time with bishop f4. Very simple style, Morphy style. If he checks, king h1, and e5 is coming. Okay. And now I could play queen e1 or queen d3. Bangtan wanted queen d3 in the similar position. I prefer maybe a move like queen e1, get away from his rook. It's flexible. Queen goes to g3, or here, and the knight can go to e4 in this position. So the problem is his queen is moving around that. I'll explain that. The problem is his queen moving around on c7. He lost all this time, and now I can just have my way with this opponent. And now knight f6 is coming. Okay, and so already it's over. And he never got his feet set in this game. Rook h4, and I suppose take queen d3 and queen h3. Oh, bishop e6 first, and then queen g6. Okay, take, and queen g6, and it's over. Okay, so now Bangtan asked me the question, why did you allow the queen trade after queen h5? Well, the answer is, Ali Reza plays this. Well, it's not a good opening, obviously. So he's just getting away with this. It's not good. So why did I allow the queen trade? I'm not going to waste time addressing the queen trade. Now, for him, I'm not talking about your question. I'm talking about in the game. I'm not going to lose time in my development worried about a queen trade. If he trades queens, his position is not improving. Now, I didn't calculate any forced line after the queen trade, but I will tell you that if he trades queens, what does this move do for me, Bangtan? What does it do for me? This is the question I want you to answer. Can you answer the question? Yeah, he helps my development, so I'm more than happy to let him finish my development where he has 3 pieces behind in development. I'm fully developed. And just because the queens are off, that doesn't mean that his position is safe. Now he has serious problems. He will get castled, but he will lose in any of the endings. Let's take this for example, or the queenless. This is called a queenless middle game, but it's very bad. His knight is offsides. I could play this. I could do this. And now I'm going to get what we call technical conversion. Okay, so I have a technical conversion. Now there are tactics. I can play this. This is a conversion. But there's actually still tactical conversion with this. So my point is that the tactics are still there. Just because the queens are traded doesn't matter. Because I have overwhelming force in the position. And now, look, I was looking at some bishop f7 idea that doesn't pan out. But look, if it doesn't pan out, then it doesn't pan out. I just play knight e4. And my question to you, Bangtan, is can he castle now? Can he castle now? So, it's hilarious. I knew that the tactics would be here. I don't have to calculate it. I know that the tactics would be here. Well, knight f8. What, bishop h6, right? It's a good point by Chess Lover. Yeah, I'm looking for this, but it's not there. So if he plays knight f8, knight e6, I wouldn't say that he's fine. He's better than he was. Fine is pushing it, but maybe he has chances. I agree if he gets that far, but we're not going to let him get that far. So knight f8, I'm looking at. Well, there's bishop g5, there's bishop h6. Bishop h6 looks like it's winning immediately. And if he takes, it's mate, right? So, yeah, so bishop g5 and bishop h6. So, yes, he doesn't have time for this backward stuff. I mean, again, just because you see this queens are off, you know, just because you see the queens are off doesn't mean anything. There's still, you know, plenty of juice to expose the fact that he has no development if you are ambitious enough. No, he knew. Obviously, he knew. He's not gonna put the pieces in the back rank. I don't know if he saw bishop h6 or not. It doesn't matter. He knew that it was going to be lost. A good player knows in this position that knight f8, you don't have time for it. Whether or not bishop h6 is spotted immediately. There are other ideas. Bishop g5. You know, knight e6. Look, this position is nothing to write home about, even if you don't find, you know, even if you don't find bishop h6, you still have this, you know, and you know, you're always going to get some conversion, pawn or something. So that's what this move f4 is doing, and it's seeing far ahead, really, that, you know, from experience, you know that you're going to open the game, and he can't play knight f6, so he can't develop. Okay. He's eventually going to play e5, and when he does that, his queen's going to get chased around. Okay. And then I don't need to worry about trading queens. Now, knight e4. What happens if he castles? What happens if he castles? It's a good thing in bullet to play if the guy doesn't know what he's doing, because you could play a bunch of moves quickly. What happens if he castles, Bangtan? Again, you have to play with energy in this position. Because you asked me why I'm not worried about the queen trade. Well, if he castles, it's fundamental move e6 is winning. Fundamental move e6, resign. That's it. So it's just not holdable, this position for him. So, you know, that's a move you can see. You just got to believe in it, and you win material. So even though he traded queens, in no variation can he castle without catastrophic loss. Knight h5, bishop e3. If he castles, then the knight is off sides, and knight e4. And he finally castled, but guess what? Now he's going to get his knight trapped. Okay, so like if he plays this, yeah, you could even double like that. That's horrible for him. And now he gets his knight trapped. Take, g4. So knights on the rim are dim. So there's I know this intuitively, all the pieces flowing, and it's funny because if he plays knight g4, my bishop is guarding everything. So if he plays knight g4, then it doesn't matter to me. I was probably going to play knight e4 then. I mean, knight e4 is good. But I was looking at h3. He has bishop c5. And I can take with the knight. So actually this doesn't work. So now I take like this. His queen is hanging. He takes like this. And now knight takes. But I will say that even if I don't see knight takes, his position is so bad that I could sack the exchange. His position is so, you don't need to see all of this. As long as you get the concepts, you don't need to see all of it. Check here, his position is so bad that, look, he still can't get off the mat. g5. Well, bishop e3. I bet in some of these lines he's going to get mated now. Take here. Look at this. And now mate is coming. Rook g8. Rook d8. It's all falling apart. And I show these lines. Why? Because some of you have the mistaken idea that when your queens are traded, there's no longer an attack. And nothing could be further from the truth. It is just thinking this is the way over years of playing, but actually the attack remains. You don't need queens just to attack, okay? So I have so much force that these pieces are more than enough for me to finish him off. Okay? You know, like Independence Day, negative. Target remains. You know. So now, finally, knight c5, bishop f7. Knight c5, bishop f7. So every move, it's amazing. He's so close to equalizing. He's so close. And every time he doesn't equalize. All by one tempo, you know. Chess is the tragedy of a single tempo. That's the famous quote. Well, guess what? What is the reason that this single tempo was lost? What is the reason that this single tempo was lost? Whose fault was it? Whose fault was it? It was his fault for being disrespectful in the opening. He's too good. I don't want to say disrespectful, but mocking it too much with the move 2, queen, c7. Okay? This move is the loss of the tempo, and it creates a tragedy for him for the rest of the game that he cannot recover from. And you will see this in a lot of your games. I don't always get such mocked openings at this level, but you know, he wanted to mock, and this is what happens. Now, not everybody is going to expose him like this. e5, bishop g4, and then we come across the next decision. Where to put the queen. You wanted queen d3. So why did I intuitively reject queen d3 without why, Bangtan? Can you give me an intuitive reason? It's not like it's a bad move, but based on feel, I think that it's.
Everybody thinks they are going to equalize until they get punched in the face.
It's not just that I saw e6. No, this is a great lecture because Lucy, you've been playing your whole life, and I know you're going to be able to apply these concepts. I looked at ef6, but I'm sure that after ef6, I'm not even that much worse. But ef6 is just not a move that he doesn't deserve. He doesn't deserve this. You know, I'm going to get two pieces. I'm probably better. It could be equal or whatever. But yeah, it's almost equal. Like, okay, if he does this, but he has to do this. But if then then it's interesting. But if he does this, then yeah, I'm better. But like, again, I saw this, but it's not worth it. He doesn't need this, but he has check. And then, yeah, I looked at this actually, but my question is why? Why? I mean, if I want to screw around, then I could do this, but like, But yeah, his position is this bad that I can give him queen odds. Yeah, definitely. This is queen for 2 bishops. And so like for me at an intuitive level, playing all my life like this, I just put the queen on e1. So if you want me to explain to you why, it's because on e1, the queen cannot be hit by any of his pieces. It still has the ability to go to the queen side. It has the ability to go to g3. It has the ability to play in the center with e4. But on d3, there are a lot of tempo shots with knight d7, knight c5, rook d8 in some lines, maybe bishop f5. So from just feeling the position, I don't want the queen on d3 from a human perspective, even though it's still surely dominated. And you see that the computer gives rook d8, which I saw as the first move to get him a little bit of comfort in the position, and then he fights back with knight d5, and then he kind of closes a little bit of the lines, and then there's bishop h4, and all of a sudden there's some miraculous tactics for him. So we don't give him that break. And some somebody might have played queen d3, but queen e1, to me, it's a clear as day move. There's no knight d5 now. The knight has to go to d7, which is a pathetic square for the knight. And it feels better. Not only that, I have easy queen g3, h3, my king is safe. And yes, I wanted e6, of course. e6 is always on my mind in this position. Why is e6 so important? Because his rooks are disconnected, and when the game opens up, it is as if I am up 2 rooks in the position. So I thought, his best move might even be to just give a pawn and be lost like this, and then rook d8, and then I don't know, just try and be lost down a pawn. Computer is interestingly taking with the bishop. I did think about this maybe, and then bishop c5, but now if king h1, the Mora gambit, it's not an opening, it's a style, and you could play that style in any position. So like again, you don't play king h1, no, you keep up the pressure, and you play bishop e3, hitting him. You take with the queen, you keep hitting him, you play queen g3, and now if he moves the bishop away, you win his queen. Okay, so it is not, and then again you keep attacking him, and he's just short of squares. Here you win a piece, here, now you win a piece again with knight d5. So my point is that this one little tempo spelled his doom. And here, by the way, knight e7. So all the tactics are on flowing. Actually, you would say that all the tactics are flowing in your direction, or on white's favor. So the current of tactics, you would say, is flowing in white's direction. And why is that? Because of the move queen c7. It goes against the logic of the game. Queen c7, wasting time, and now he is destroyed because of it, and it's that one move. And now it is a high level to be able to do that, but I'm showing you how it's done. Queen e1, and he goes knight d7. Okay, again, if I let him, as Chess Lover said, if you let him get on e6, his position becomes tenable. Well, we can't allow him to set his feet, just like in boxing. Keep the guy on the back foot, or in any sport, keep him off balance. You can't allow him to set his feet. So e6, and now with the queen here, he can't do anything. This is hanging, so there's a constant pressure. He can't play like knight c5 because you just take, and then he's completely lost. So he has to take, and I don't know what he's gonna do. Computer's trying to find any move to save him. But I will tell you this: if he plays knight c5, I would take, and now we have this. Another reason the queen's on e1. Now he can't castle again. So you ask, oh, how do they never castle? Well, I have him pinned up so that he can't get out and castle, because then I take on e7. So in this position for me, it's obvious I'm going to move my queen somewhere, either e3 or e5, and get the rook into the game. And with this in mind, at b4, I ignore threatening mate. And yeah, so you know, he's gonna lose. So he can't escape. So he plays bishop c5. Okay, king h1, obviously, and he finds a way to castle this way. He can't castle this way. He's cut, so he finds a way to castle. Well, now, again, if you're lazy in this position, you don't do anything, or you trade, you can lose the bulk of your advantage, and you know, you might lose the lion's share of your advantage. h3, you know, so we don't want to be lazy here. This bishop is cutting his king, so if we put a queen on a6, it would be checkmate, or a queen on c6. So with that in mind, I'm looking to knight b5, and somebody, one of the mockers, Kirby, was saying unsound but sound. No, sound but sound always. So, you know, that's why I was laughing at that, because it's kind of almost funny in this position. Knight b5 or knight e4, either one, but yeah, I mean, knight b5. Again, you've seen me with queen e1 in the Van Wheelie game, queen e1, queen a5, but now my eyes, I had a little, you know, just staring at the computer. I almost played queen e5, because I was just like, and then I realized, okay, he can take, you know, so that would be sad, but this is the idea, is to get the queen to c7, and then once you see that the queen is doing this, you just play knight takes b5, queen a5. Knight takes b5, he has to take. He doesn't take, but if he takes, then queen a5. There's also queen e4, which is even more brutal. He literally can't move anything, and this is just Bowden's mate, basically. Okay, I saw queen a5, and then if bishop b6, this is mate, and this is threatening mate, and I saw that if king b7, then check, and this is a common mate actually. Queen c6, and then either one, you're going to play a4. Okay, let's say bishop b6, bishop b6, a4. Yeah, it's common because you're threatening to mate him on the spot, like this, and mate. And if he plays b4, then you just play bishop c4, and it's actually, there are a number of mates, but this is a pretty barbaric mate, because Bangtown was worried about the queen trade, and now we mock the queen trade with a queen trade that leads to that leads to checkmate in one move. I mean, really like obscene queen trade that leads to checkmate in one move. Okay, so all of this is happening because of queen c7, and that's why I wanted to discuss this. So castles take, he doesn't do this, and then just queen a5, and he resigns because it's mate. Yeah, it's pretty, yeah, queen e1 is expansive. It goes both sides, and it's protected, and it still allows the rooks to play on d1 and f1. Okay, so not all of you would have realized that, some of you would, but not all of you would have realized that he really lost this game, in my view, after queen c7 on move 2. I believe that, practically speaking, this game turned against him after queen c7 on move 2. That is why there are mainstream openings with d5 on move 2. That is why there are mainstream openings with e5 or c5 or e6, because all these moves are not wasting time, and all these moves are taking over the center. So that is the reason that some of this mock nonsense is not considered very high level, and you can see that it gets exposed immediately. So thanks for that. He lost time, and as a result lost the game. let's move on. I mean, I feel like a lot of you can take from this game and really apply it. At yeah. Let's see. If you like the lecture, let us know. Or milk it below. A lot of you can apply this in your games because you're going to see moves like this all the time. So thanks for that, and let's move along.
You must be a master.
Smash them. Yeah. But like I feel like if Morphy saw something like this, Queen C7, I think he wouldn't need any training. He would just crush the guy. You know? Open lines, okay. Develop. Open. I mean, open. This is like, you know. Yeah, I just, of course, yeah. You know, that's the thing. They criticized Queen E7. Queen E7. It's the same, you know. It's the same thing. I mean, Bishop G4. He made that look bad, right? He made that look so bad, and as a result, they never caught up after Bishop G4. You know, they just never, you know, B5, Knight B5, same thing. They never caught up. You know. Whoops. Rook D. They never caught up. So, yes. Thanks for that. And let's move on.